You, yes, you have a life. I have a life. Everybody around you leads a busy life with different schedules, different habits, and different routines. Most of us like to call it organized chaos. And then there's people like Johnny. People like Johnny are the reason why, despite us having so many medical advancements, things like chronic disease rates are at an all-time high. Johnny thinks he has a routine, but inside, his body has no idea what's going on. Why? Because Johnny is completely out of sync with his own clock. And the truth is, a lot of us are too, and we don't even realize it. Let's go back to where it all started. Johnny, though the man, had just finished college and got a job. It was comfortable, he had a good pay, and he had everything else he could ask for. But big surprise, he had a night shift. So in a few weeks, he realized he was getting cranky and irritable most of the time. You know, classic signs of fatigue, laziness, etc., etc. When he consulted the doctor told him exactly that. The classic doctor thing, going on and on about making sure to sleep 8 hours a day. I'm not saying the doctor was wrong. He had a fancy sounding degree, so I don't want to argue with him. Sleep is important for one's mental and physical health. So Johnny went back home and set up his schedule, which allowed him to have a full 8 hours of sleep during the day so that he could still do his work during the night. Soon enough, he was feeling better. He was less cranky and had better control of his emotions. A happy ending, right? You got the message, sleep more. I can probably go now, except I can't, because this story didn't end just yet. See, a few days later came the even steeper decline. Johnny's appetite got worse, and he was rarely on time anywhere. Even though he was getting enough hours of sleep, he still felt incredibly tired most of the time. He followed everything the doctor told him, yet why was his health still declining? Now, I don't want to ruin the flow by being too scientific, but bear with me for a while as I explain this bit. Simply put, it is because our bodies adapt to a certain lifestyle. Every day, we sleep during the night and stay up during the day. We usually eat 3 meals a day, but you know all that from life experience anyway. You know when you feel active, energetic, and when you feel tired and sleepy. Scientists refer to this system of the body's clock as the circadian rhythm. It controls what time our body does what, like what time it's active, hungry, and tired. A person can't simply reset the system by readjusting the time of when he falls asleep. This information isn't in some kind of manual which your body can read, which it can then rewrite whenever it wants to. This clock is hardwired and engraved into every gene in every cell of our body. Messing with the body's clock costs a lot, taking from your health, your productivity, and even your mental sanity. Johnny Doe the man, despite having enough sleep, is facing many problems because his body clock and the world's clock are working out of sync. And newsflash, if you're up against the literal world, that's pretty tough competition to beat. Johnny's clock still acts according to the world because his circadian rhythm does not only depend on his sleeping hours. Like I said before, it is an embedded and ingrained system that cannot be edited. But, and here comes the plot twist, it can be messed with. And messing with the body clock is not only very easy, its effects aren't exactly the most pleasant things we can experience. Let me explain. Let's say that this is our body's clock, the master clock, let's call it. This master clock is located inside our heads and tells our entire body what time it is. But this is just the master clock. This controls the overall time in our body. But each and every one of our organs has its own clock, which readjusts itself every time it realizes it's going differently from the master clock. This might sound a bit complicated at first for our stomach, our heart, our muscles, and everything else to have their own clock. But that's how the body works. Different body organs need to function at their best at different times of the day, thus making them all need different clocks. And it's not like there's a pattern. It's not like our brain goes first, then our heart, then our stomach. They all go whenever they need to. And that, again, depends on our lifestyle. Simply put, the organs work best when they need to work best because they have their different clocks. Remember how every clock is readjusting itself according to the master clock? What if, let's say, someone's master clock was ticking at the wrong time? To give an example, let's say you're in a building where there's only one clock and everyone has their own watch. Everybody is told to adjust their watch to the clock on the wall, and everyone has different tasks to do at different times of the day. It'll be going good for a while, but what if someone sneaks in and rewinds the clock by a few hours? You see that your watch is running differently from the clock and readjust it by those hours. Let's say your task set to open the windows at 2 p.m. and the person who snuck in rewound the clock by 4 hours. Would you still be able to open the windows at 2 p.m. or would you open them at 10 a.m.? This is what it is like inside our body. What if instead of saying 2 p.m. at 2 p.m., our master clock said 10 a.m.? That would mean it was lagging behind by around 4 hours. And if every organ's clock depends on that one master clock, would they still be able to do their tasks on time? Remember, your stomach can't really see the outside of the world like you can. And remember how I said messing with the master clock is very easy? Let me explain. Basically, two major things affect our master clock. One of them is the lighting outside. Don't try too hard to remember all this, but just hold the concept, okay? There is this protein called the melanopsin inside our eyes. This protein is extremely, and I mean extremely, sensitive to blue light. But it is nearly unresponsive to orange light. Let me show how this is relevant. Go outside. Not now, but later today. And look at the sky. If you've passed first grade, congratulations. You know that it's the color blue. Because due to the way light works, the color blue seems to spread out the most. So when you wake up in the morning, go outside, and you see the sky, which is blue, the melanopsin wakes up. The melanopsin is directly connected to the operating system of your master clock. So when it sees the blue sky and starts getting active, it grabs your brain by the shoulders and starts saying, wake up, go do your work and get something done today so that you can finally stop feeling sorry for yourself. Which kickstarts your brain and it starts releasing chemicals to make you active. But during the night, there's not much, at least there used to be much, blue light. What is abundant is orange light. Remember, we humans evolved with the help of fire. A few centuries ago, we literally had to live with candles and lanterns during the night. And guess what? These lights are orange, which our melanopsin is barely reactive to. This means the melanopsin calms down, stops annoying our brain, and gives it a chance to rest. It's like when your best friend, who you would love to but can't get rid of, has been annoying you the entire day, and he finally decides to go home. What do? You sigh and relax. That's exactly what the brain does. How? By sleeping. But in the last couple of decades, light has become enormously abundant, especially blue light. It's in our phones, our LED light bulbs, TVs, and everything else. So binge watching your favorite show till midnight might sound like an enjoyable time at first, but the 3 hours it takes after that for our melanopsin to calm down isn't as enjoyable. This is why a lot of people can't sleep on time anymore. They don't let their melanopsin calm down from all the light exposure. The next thing which affects our master clock is the time that we eat. The thing is, our body uses energy in this way. While we are awake, from our first to our last bite of the day, our bodies are creating fat. They are creating fat and saving it for the times when we're not eating or are sick. But in modern life, most of that fat is used while we're sleeping because humans don't eat while they're sleeping. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather not want to die from hunger while I'm asleep. And humans, as we all know from experience, tend to keep eating until we're knocked out. Be honest with me here. Have you ever eaten something after dinner just because you wanted something sweet? Now, whether we realize it or not, We just made our bodies create even more fat. Because it doesn't matter if our last bite of the day is from a 3-course meal or just a tiny little cookie which we weren't supposed to eat, but we still did. Our body is still going to be making fat until we stop eating. And then it'll be burning all that fat while we're asleep. But we can't just magically extend our day from 24 hours to 26. If we have to wake up at 6 a.m., we have to wake up at 6 a.m., whether we slept at 10 p.m. or 3 a.m. So when you decrease your sleep time, not only are you making your body create more fat than it burns, you're also messing with your master clock. How? Because as long as you're eating, your body thinks that it's the daytime. When you stop eating, that's when the body realizes it's night. So by staying awake more and thus eating more, you're making your body think that the day is much longer than it actually is. This way, you're making more fat than you burn. And guess what more fat means? More fat would literally make you more fat, potentially leading to obesity. People like Johnny Doe who mess with their circadian rhythm can get messed up so much more than just getting obese. They can suffer from chronic diseases alongside other stuff like ADHD, insomnia, anxiety, depression, stroke, general pain, and more. None of us really want all that. And the way to not get it is to not mess with our circadian rhythm. Because at the end of the day, it's not a curse. No matter how much we try to change it or fight against it, it's going to win because it's inside us. Trying to fight the circadian rhythm is like trying to fight ourselves. And trying to fight ourselves is like arguing with a mirror. The circadian rhythm is a part of our life. And I have a life, you have a life, we all have a busy life. Let's start living it the right way.